Hey everyone, thanks for joining us this Thursday. Today we're going to be talking about advanced reports in PDQ Inventory using SQL. If you have any questions, be sure to put them in the chat window, or you can email them to webcast@adminarsenal.com. We'll try to answer as many questions as we can live. If your question's featured during the webcast, we'll send you some PDQ swag. Now we'll turn it over to Shane and Lex.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Shane.
I'm Lex.
All
Let's
right.
do SQL reports, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
One of the, get your hand out of the way.
Isn't that what I'm here
No,
to do?
please,
Comic relief,
please,
just to
please.
bump you a little
Place
bit?
your hand gently upon mine, and we'll operate the mouse together. That's kind of creepy.
That is way creepy. I'm not doing that again.
All right. Hey, everybody. Yes, we've talked in the past about reports. You've probably looked at reports in PDQ Inventory. If you look, we have some canned reports. Now, if you notice, canned reports, most of them, the type is basic. There are two types of reports, though. I'm just going to edit this one really quick. Define report. Looks like, I don't know, does it look like our lips are off? We're in Wayne's World.
Wayne's World? Yeah, a little bit.
That's all right. So, make this a little smaller here. There we go. You've probably, you're familiar with this one. This is the basic type of report where you specify the, the name of the tables that you want to show, and then you enter your filters, et cetera, et cetera.
To limit the data you want to see. Yeah.
Correct. I'm going to create a new one just to show a limitation before we jump into the SQL. I've got a custom one.
Okay.
A custom folder. Remember to create a folder, maybe to help keep some of your reports organized. Create a new report folder, by all means. Feel free. So we've got a custom one here. I'm going to go to a new report, hit basic. Now basic I can choose from the table, and the table is actually a view, but we'll just call it a table. So you've got your computer table, and then you have all the columns that you can show within there. Now let's say I want to show the computer name, and then a very common one of application. Application name, maybe application vendor, right? But publisher. But notice, when I try to add a new table, I can only add
These two.
these two. Before there were a lot of them. Why is that?
Just a limitation of the report builder here.
I would say it's trying to make it easier for you guys.
True.
Yeah.
Now, the reason it's a limitation is the tables need to be joined. There needs to be a unique field that joins the table together.
That's correct.
If you don't know what those are, it's kind of hard to put that together.
The next version in PDQ Inventory 6, you're actually going to see, you're going to start to see all of the different tables available here. We're going to try to have most of them grayed out. Basically, if the relationship is not set, then you're not going to be able to choose them. That's kind of a limitation with a basic report. It's really to prevent, well, it's for them. It's for you guys. It's to prevent you guys from getting bad data. So what happens when you want to pull data, though, from tables that don't have a relationship? You can't do it from within a basic report. That's where the SQL comes in, and that's where we're going to jump right in. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that. Now, what we're not going to necessarily do here is teach you how to write an SQL. You know, there's kind of an expectation here.
You do need to know basic SQL.
Yeah, we're making this available for those of you who need that extra punch, be able to get that data that you want, that you can't do in a basic report, but you're going to have to resort to actual SQL. All right. So let's do this. So if you want to create, notice there's the type, there's the basic, and then there's
An SQL report.
SQL report. So if you want to create an SQL report, it's quite simple. We're going to go to New Report and select
SQL.
SQL.
It's a
there
tough
you
one.
go. How difficult was that? And you're going to notice, hey, welcome to it. We've got almost a blank canvas. We have thrown a few things in here for you. So we'll just do this one. Our first SQL. So if you ran this just as it stands, run it. It's going to show you all the names and any description from Active Directory. All right, any Active Directory description. Very simple. So when you run the SQL, you're going to see all the tables in our database out there for everyone to see. And when you select a table, you're going to see the actual columns. Now, there is a bug that's going to be fixed in Inventory 6. You know, this was broken recently. We apologize, but it is going to be fixed. Where you could actually say, I want to select, I'm going to do the comma. Let's say I want to select from applications the application name. Notice how that put it up there.
As opposed to right where you were.
Where the cursor is going to be. Yeah, that's going to be the fix. We're going to, if you want to start adding, you're just going to have to type it in at this point. So when you want to select, when you want to do your select statement, you need to choose the table and you need to choose the column that you want. So just in let's say we want to lose the computer's description. Notice after every single column, just some SQL syntax.
So you're naming it so it's easy to understand.
Yeah,
what
you
it
can
is.
do the as. The as is not as necessary if you want, but this will show up as the column name in your report. But anytime you're going to have another column shown, you do have to have a comma there. That's just SQL syntax. So we want to say, you know, from the applications table, applications name. And if you need the cheat sheet, there's the applications table and the name. And if you want the uninstall, maybe we want to look at the uninstall as well. Then we do this. Uninstall from computers. Now, this is going to give us an error. This is where the SQL comes in. We run this, applications name select, there's a problem here.
Doesn't know where it is at this point. We haven't joined it to the computer.
We haven't joined it. This is where you're going to have to do some SQL. You have to join your different tables. So there's a couple of different ways that you can join. By the way, we are using in PDQ Inventory, PDQ Deploy, they both use SQLite. So to do a join, we can literally just say something as simple as join applications, and then the name of the column the unique ID, the common ID,
that links the two together. Yeah,
the key,
primary linking key,
the primary key, foreign key. So we're going to do which is computer ID. You could do that. That should work. Oh, pardon me. Computer name, application. Did I applications name uninstall from computers join? Maybe I'm not doing this. You could also do, by the way, you can also do inner joins. All right. From computers, and I'm going to hopefully make sure I'm doing that right. Inner join applications on computer ID, computers.computer ID equals applications dot computer ID.
That looks more correct. There we go.
There we go. Now we can see the name of the all the computers, the name of the applications, and their corresponding uninstall key. So we're seeing this. Notice how we threw that in there. Where computer filter. What do you think that is?
We put that in there because most of your SQL and your reports are going to run on whatever collection you've selected, and so that actually feeds the collection that you've selected.
If you're familiar with the basic reports, notice when you run, I'm going to go to just going to go to one of our basic reports. So we run the applications. This shows it right now. You can see the collection that we're running this against is all collections. But let's say I wanted to run applications against a different collection. That's where you can select your collection source and say, I want to see all the applications on any computer that has Microsoft Office. So I could select the Microsoft Office collection, and that will narrow it down to only show me computers that have Microsoft Office in their corresponding applications. It's the collection source. Well, to allow you to still use the collection source in SQL reports, we've added the computer filter, the computer filter key. So when you do where computer filter, that simply means where whatever the collection source is. So here we're saying show applications. Let's remove the uninstall because that's kind of ugly. Remember, since this is the last application or last column you're going to show, you want to remove that last comma.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Save that.
Hey guys, Adam's on right now, and he's saying that you need join applications using computer ID. Also, he's answering any, fielding any SQL questions that.
Oh yeah, cool.
our users
Well,
have.
we
So
are
he's
we
on
are
chat
doing
now.
we are doing computers applications on I'm sorry. Join applications on applications ID. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Yeah,
you're fine.
join applications using computer ID.
That's
No,
that's what we're.
join.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Applications. Yeah. Hey, everybody. Yes, we're doing computer
Little
ID. We're
debate
we're
here.
saying that as long as computer ID equals the computer ID in computer, so you have the two different columns here.
Got the two different tables,
Mhm.
and we're saying what they have to join on.
Correct.
Is that right, Adam? He'll probably see this in about 30 seconds.
That's cool. And there's a couple of different ways you can do this. If you notice, I've got a couple of customs here. So you've got application product key. This is a SQL one. I'm going to define the report. Notice how we do a couple of different joins, different ways of join. We're saying from computers, join applications using computer ID. That was the using. That's what I forgot before. You can also do what I was doing, where you're saying, do I have a join here?
You got a union all between
Oh, I
two
do a
select
union
statements,
and
yeah.
I do a
Mhm.
bunch of sub-selects. So actually, Adam, this should work. Please let us know if this doesn't.
Might be the inner on there. We take the inner off. It'll probably work
Do you,
fine too.
do you have the using keyword? Is that?
No, it's in this case you don't use the using if you do the join on. So
Okay.
I'm saying
No,
on.
he just said never mind, both work.
Yeah,
you all
okay.
can see that in the chat window.
Sorry, everybody. So both will work. What I was trying to demonstrate is there are two ways of doing this. There's the old. This is kind of the old school. If you're used to Transact SQL, this is a common one. Or this one. Go back over here to define this one, where you can say, from your computer. So you've got your joining your computers.
Mhm.
And then you're joining applications, and then it's kind of a shorthand where you're saying join applications using computer ID. And I had forgotten to use the using. There's kind of two ways of doing it. It just kind of depends on how you're used to writing SQL. So you can do this way, or you can do, the on.
Mhm.
Computers table, the table dot column equals the other table dot column, as long as they have the same key. I need some whiskey.
You know what? I'll drink to that.
But I'm grateful for Adam, because you guys, Adam is the SQL. He's the SQL god around here. Yeah, let's shoot to
Let's hit a question, yeah. Is there a way to export the data from SQL into an Excel format? Chris R.
Hey, well, once you run the report, Chris, hi. The answer is yes. Once you run the report, whether it's an SQL report or a basic report, then you can go ahead and do your export. We'll show you how to do that. Well, let's run. Here's one, by the way. I'm going to just show you how to do this. We've got, now this one did require an extra inventory scanner, but I'm going to define the report. And notice the question that had come in a little while ago is, I want to be able to see which computers in my inventory database have static IP addresses and which have DHCP.
CP.
Well, in order to do that, we actually had to use a SQL report. Can't do that from a basic report, because we also use the registry scanner.
Mhm.
That's a different webcast. So we scanned the registry and then built this report. When you run it, this will show you all the different computers, their IP addresses, and whether they are DHCP or static. Now, once you run your report, whether it's basic or SQL, if you want to export it, here's a great way of doing it. Go to Print Preview, and then you can mail or save. How do you want to save it? You want to save it as an XLS file? There you go. You want to save it as a CSV file? There you go. So hopefully that answers your question. You go to a Print Preview and export that. So you don't do it from within the SQL. You do it from once you run the report. It's a native feature within PDQ Inventory. So, yeah.
Yay us. That's a great feature.
So we're going to go back. We're going to go back in. If you have any questions, by all means, throw down. Especially since we have Adam on the line. That's great. Let's go back in. So once again, I'm going to create our first SQL. So select, remember the computer filter is the same as saying the collection source. If we didn't do this, notice we're on all computers. If we didn't do this, I'm going to remove that where clause. Run report. We're going to see 2,500, 2535 rows, all right? And you can change the collection source all you want. Let's see, reboot required. And it's not going to change. It still goes against every single computer in the database unless you use that clause. So that clause, which we put in there by default, where computer filter, that respects the collection source. So we're running this. Now there's 960 because we're looking only in this collection. So how do you use the computer filter as well as if you actually need to have a where clause? So let's do this. We want to say computer application's name. We have the where computer filter. But now let's say we want to look for anything that just has Firefox. Then you would do something, then you would do an and. So you have your where clause, right? And then you do and.
Application name.
Thank you, Lexathon. And then we're going to use like, right? And we're going to do like, and it's going to be, if you want to do remember in SQL, it's a percent that's going to be
Your wildcard.
correct, like Firefox.
Now let me ask you, Shane, do we have to use single or can we use double quotes or does it matter?
It's you know what, it's used to using the single quotes.
Single
Yeah,
quotes?
single quotes is how you do that. Going to run that. Now we see these are the machines in reboot required. Remember we have
Firefox,
that.
yep.
That have Firefox. We want to change the collection source. Go to all computers. There we go. Because of that computer filter. So you can simply add to your where clause by doing your usual ands. Now, where you can come into, obviously we could do this same thing with a basic report.
Yeah.
Where this would come in when you want to be able to add or do joins to other tables that don't natively have that relationship. So we're doing computers and applications. Applications has a relationship to computers, but it doesn't have an applications to say logical disks, right? So logical disks is a table.
There we go.
There we go. You can see the columns in logical disks. So if we wanted to do logical disks, so we want to show computers that have Firefox, and we want to see the amount of hard drive space that they have, then you could do something like
Logical disk free space maybe? Or logical disk?
Logical disks dot, yeah, we can do free space. All right.
Again, at this point, we're going to have to go join that table. Now, since that table is linked to the computer by the computer ID, again, we're going to join that.
I'm going to try to do the old school way.
Old school?
Yeah, we'll see, or the new. Let's see, join logical disks using, and it's computer ID.
Computer ID, yep.
I believe that's right. Hopefully, Adam will pipe in if that's not right. All right.
Run it. Rock and roll.
There we go. So now you can see the,
We've now
the
linked
free
three
space.
tables together, yeah.
You bet. Now, that's a lot of...
That's a lot of numbers there, man.
It's a lot of numbers. How would you take care of that? This is where you come into the different SQL. So if you wanted to look at, you've got your free space. I can't remember if that free space is a percentage or let's just look at size. Let's just look at size for right now, just because I can't remember.
I'm not going to make a comment about size of your disk.
All right. So you do size. There you go. Is it logical?
There's space there, buddy. There you go.
There we go. Okay, so you have size. Now, let's say we want to show. I believe that's in bytes, probably.
Yeah.
So you should be able to
A
do.
little math on that one.
And that would be divide by what, 1024, and then divide by
You're not typing
1024.
there, buddy. Oh, there you go.
Oh,
A little
yeah.
bit of delay.
I believe. Let's try that. Oh, nope.
Nope.
Logical disk size.
You got two 1024s in there.
I know, because you want to do it a couple times.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, if you're in bytes, you do
Oh,
the
that's
first
right.
one
Okay,
is going to
good
take it to kilobytes, and then you're going to take it to megabytes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There we go. So do your math and make sure you place the appropriate operator where it needs to be.
What syntax is necessary here?
Yeah, syntax is correct. So I believe that would be from bytes, kilobytes, megabytes, probably megabytes right there.
There you go.
So if you wanted to do it to gigabytes, now there is actually, do we have one in there? No, yeah, so you want to do gigabytes, you would do yet again, divide by 1024. And there's your amount of space, your size in gigabytes. Cheers.
Well done with the math there, buddy.
So once again, you could not do this in a basic report. Why? Because we're talking about the computers table, the applications table, and the logical disks. This is where SQL comes in. So are you going to need to use SQL? You're going to need to know it? Yes, you are. Now, notice this is an extremely basic editor right here. I mean, it's effectively just type it in. This is not a SQL IDE. If you use Notepad++ or something like that, you could, certainly write your SQL queries and then copy and paste them. I personally like SQL Maestro. This is something that I've used for a while, SQLite Maestro.
Gives quite a few views of the different tables.
Yep.
The types of
JJ's just asking us to center that.
the types of data that you can look at.
Yeah, this also gives you a look of the tables. Notice it won't give you the views that we're necessarily doing. But if you want to use your own SQL IDE, by all means you can do that. Where you could just do a quick test here. Select star from computers. Notice that it gives you the feedback. I can hit F8. I'm connected to my inventory database, by the way, and it gives me that information.
There you go.
Right there.
2 rows and
Yeah. So if you want you want to write your complex queries, you like your own IDE, do that, and then simply copy and paste. In here. Just remember that.
add that computer filter at the end.
You want to add the computer filter there. So there's a lot of different ways. Do we have any questions out there? All right, no questions. I don't want to give up quite yet. I want to dive into something else here. So we've got, we're going to keep going. So this is, systems with Firefox and show HDD size. Let's look at, so with the application and product keys, so we do grab only a handful. In PDQ Inventory, we grab a handful of product keys, mostly like Microsoft Office and Windows and stuff like that. However, there is not a natural relationship between the product key and the application table. So we've had people say, whoa, how can I'm trying to pull up a basic report where I look at the product key and the application. I can't do that. That's where we have this, which is kind of, this is as good as it's going to get, really, because there really isn't a natural relationship. But if you can see, we're grabbing, thanks for zooming in on that, JJ. The computers, the application's name. Now I'm going to go ahead and run this because we don't want to show our whole product key, obviously, because we don't want you guys to steal that. But here we're just saying application's name, product keys. We're going to join those. Each of them go back to the computers table as the computer ID. Computer ID really is one of
the base for everything to be linked there.
That's everything ends up getting mapped back to a computer anyway, and computer ID is how we do that. But notice that we are trying to narrow it down. So we're saying application's name, it's like Microsoft Office 2013, but then show the keys if there is Microsoft Office and 2013 in there. Notice we're not going to show the whole keys, but this is kind of a way that you can get that done. These are the computers that have these Office products, and hopefully the corresponding key, as best as we can do. It's pretty accurate, but we have to give you some disclaimers there. All right. And then, of course, there's the union. At the end, we're not going to go into how to write an SQL, but the basic the SQL that you can write will work here. Here we're just doing a union where a union is kind of opposite of a join, where a join takes the left and the right, takes two tables and makes them into one virtual table. And a union basically, makes them all one long table. If you can see, we did the union in the DHCP static IP addresses.
Mhm.
I'm going to go to define, where we say going into the registry scanner, and this once again comes into the scan profiles. We had to scan computers using this information, where we say we give it the computer name. We grab the IP address that's also in the computers table. And then we're actually putting a static, and I say static literally, we're putting a value here called static, and then we're going to do the same sequence under the union where we say the computer name, but this third value is going to be DHCP, and then it just has slightly different select statements. And notice we're
stack
doing
those two selects on top of each other.
Yep.
And
We're doing a union all, and notice that we're doing sub-selects. So you can get crazy with your SQL. If you guys are just saying this basic report's not giving me what I need, you know your SQL, or you have somebody near to hand that knows that, by all means, throw it in here and see what you can come up with. You always have the cheat sheets here with the names of the tables and their corresponding columns. However, a few things. Some limitations. I'm going to run, now notice this SUS client ID, all right? This just shows me the client ID, the WSUS client ID for all these computers. Now, I can create, if I want, a new collection. Remember how you can create a collection from a report, and you can create a report from a collection. That's really from a basic collection.
Yep.
You cannot create a collection from an SQL report and vice versa. So I have this enabled right here where I could say, yeah, create a collection with these filters. However, you don't have that option when you're talking about SQL. I'm going to go into define. Notice there's no, I can't move this as a collection. So this really is just when you want a report.
Yep.
All right.
The basics there are you're building the links that put those tables together, and then.
But you can use the auto report. That's a new feature that was introduced, earlier this year, where you can have reports, inventory reports, set to automatically be saved and/or emailed out to whoever you want. You can have an SQL report automatically use auto reports. You just can't do the collection from report. All right. Have I missed something here, bro?
I'm sure we have. But we're gonna act like we haven't though. We'll wrap it up today. I think we've done a pretty good job of touching on
If you guys have any questions, please throw down. Yeah, that's the SQL. You have to know it or know somebody who does know it, but that's how you can extend the data in inventory to give you what you want outside of the basic. The basic really is just to help those who don't know SQL to be able to build the reports they want. But for those of you who do,
Knock yourselves out.
yeah,
It'll be awesome.
we'll give you that extra muscle to sink or swim, as
Yep.
you've seen that we both sunk and swim.
today. Wow. Yeah.
All right, I'm Shane.
I'm Lex.
We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks,
ya.
Adam.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. If you have any questions that you think of later, you can always hit our support site. Go to support.adminarsenal.com. And we'll see you guys at the next webcast next Thursday.